Get on the train before it leaves the station. The truth train is coming, gonna run them down, run them down.
Alrighty, hello everybody. How you doing? We're out. We're out today here, or we're here today to to observe a little bit more of how the progress is going with Corona or COVID-19. Obviously, some of you have been seeing that I've been posting some videos. On this channel, I posted a video, and over on my Doctor Who channel, I posted a video showing how California has been observing the social distancing and how seriously it's been being taken here. And I've been waiting to see, obviously how effective our efforts, are. I was pretty proud of the fact that even though I know it was rough for parents, to have this happen, but by shutting down the schools last Monday, 2 Mondays ago, shutting those schools down on Monday so that those kids didn't even come in after the weekend, I think was huge. Huge. Because that means for the last week and a half that there hasn't been a bunch of kids at school passing it around to send it home to other families. You know what I mean? Along with other schools. Many office buildings are, having their employees work from home now and things like that. So all these things, all these measures are helping. And so I've been waiting to see, hope to get an indicator of how well it was working. And so last night I finally did see something where it showed the line for California, kind of flattening out. So I wanted to go ahead and show you guys that today. So here we go. I'm going to show you the graph, and you're going to see California here, Washington here, New York is on there. You'll see places like Madrid, Spain, London, Wuhan, obviously where this all started, is in there. And a place called Daegu. I'm really not sure where that is, but they've actually managed to flatten their line out as well. So we'll show you that right now here. We'll go to the graph, and then we'll come on back. Alrighty, hello there, folks. So this is basically a graph tracking the spread of COVID-19 in some places, in various places. So what I wanted to show everybody here is obviously we've got places like Madrid and Spain and New York. New York's really having a tough time with this. I mean, you can see their line is just going almost straight up, going on the deaths double every day kind of tangent there, or on that line, or on that, however you want to look at it. So New York really does need to get things kind of under control so they can start flattening out. Madrid obviously having the same trouble. They're kind of starting to flatten out a little bit. They've moved from being on the trajectory of doubling every day to now they're getting to around doubling every 2 days, and hopefully they'll be able to get that thing flattened out. So another interesting thing here, Washington, the state of Washington, was obviously kind of going up, and they were kind of along that line of the every 2 days, doubling every 2 days, as you can see right here, right? That's what this line is. So you can see Washington was kind of on that one, but now they've started to flatten it out. They're still on the rise a bit, but they've started to flatten that thing out, and that's good. And then you can see down here in California, folks, right here. This is what I've been, been making videos showing you guys what the freeways and what the streets look like here in California and some of the shopping districts here in California. But you can see right here is California has flattened out this curve big time, and really at a low point where we could easily, within a couple days, we could be looking at being right on this trajectory of doubling every week. And if we can keep it flattened out, and keep it flat and going like that, that's what we want. That's what we need. But that's what California is looking like. And the reason why California, in my opinion, why California's line has flattened out that way, in somewhat significantly in that way, is really, I think, down to the social distancing, people really observing it, people really taking it seriously, not going anywhere unnecessarily, and just stemming the spread of this COVID-19. So it's very, very, I'm very, very happy to see that California's line is flattening out like that, and also to see Washington's. I hope to see New York get their numbers under control as soon as possible. So, but that is something I wanted to show you guys, and the way California's line is leveling out, and I'm going to show you why I think that is.
Boy from Antelope Valley who tested positive for the coronavirus has died, but it's not clear whether the virus is the cause of death. Lancaster's mayor says he died of septic shock, which can be a side effect of the infection. Initially, LA County Sheriff said to close non-essential business, including gun shops, but now he's saying gun sales are necessary for security and law enforcement. So for now, his department is waiting word from the state on whether or not to close non-essential businesses. 3 Metro contractors not in contact with the public have tested positive for the virus. Any Metro employees who had contact with them have been alerted and are quarantined. With the Safer at Home order, officials at the National Domestic Violence Hotline say those living with an abusive family member are more at risk now because they're stuck at home and some of their partners can feel a loss of power, escalating their behavior. If you can 1-800-799-7233 is the number. For up-to-the-minute news on the coronavirus crisis, listen to KNX 1070 News Radio on your radio, the radio.com app, or on your smart speaker.
In response to the COVID-19 outbreak, Metro continues.
So obviously that was a little
for those who need it most.
update about Corona there on the radio. I can tell you that normally this intersection, the cars are backed up well farther, than you see right now. I mean, if you look over there at those cars, there's only a couple cars at the light. I mean, this is not typical. This is greatly reduced traffic because of Corona. It's normally a lot busier than this. That's all I can say. It's just, and another thing is you're not seeing really so many cars. You're seeing a lot more of just the trucks. The trucks that basically are, taking, whatever, food and various things to the stores. So that's mainly what you're seeing. But yeah, you see some cars. I just wanted to point this out because somebody was asking me about if half the people are still going to work. I got to tell you, it's not half. I don't believe it's half the people are still going to work. I believe a lot less than half of the people are still going to, it's a lot less than half because, well, if you saw what the LA freeways normally look like, you would understand what I mean. They're ghost towns compared to what they used to be. So I'm gonna also show you guys some things today here, in this video. So, California is actually looking like they're doing a good job. It looks like they're starting to flatten the curve. So, we're about to get on the freeway here, and you can see, you'll be able to see a couple different freeways here today. You'll be able to see a little bit of the 5, a little bit of the 605, and then obviously some of the 105. So getting on to the 5, and normally this is a parking lot. Pretty much right when you get on here, it's a parking lot. You see how open it is? I mean, this is the 5 freeway. This is like one of the main arteries of Southern California, and there's just no cars. I mean, ordinarily at this time it would just be packed. It would be mobbed with cars. We'd be going about 3 miles an hour when moving, which it's not often. When under normal conditions, where everybody is carrying on as normal, this freeway is packed. It doesn't move anything like this. So this should be something of an illustration for people to understand that a great many people are staying home. And this could be a very good reason for why California is flattening the curve. It's become evident to me, seeing how well observed this social distancing is here in SoCal. I'll show you guys some other stuff where Home Depot has started to limit the number of people allowed in the store at a time. So now you have to stand in line outside of Home Depot before you can go in. Restaurants are no longer allowing people to dine in. They're blocking off their tables and everything so that you can't sit and dine in the restaurant. You can come in and pick it up and take it out, but you can't sit there in large groups in the dining room and eat and obviously take the chance of passing corona around. So that's kind of what's going on. I mean, SoCal has been taking it pretty seriously, and I'm very happy about that, because I saw, obviously something yesterday that I'm going to show you guys where California does appear to be flattening the curve, which is exactly what we want to happen. So, all right, here we are. We're about to transition from the 5 freeway to the 605 freeway. See it come up here in just a second. A little transition. There it is. Ooh, that guy's a jerk. This is us going under the 605 right now. See how wide open this one is? Again, another usually busy freeway. It's usually very busy. It's actually usually moving. It's usually doing about maybe 10 to 15 miles an hour right here, but it's usually very, very packed and congested. You can't really move around very well because there's so many cars. Today I'm doing about 70 miles an hour right now. 70 miles an hour on LA freeways at this time of the morning is just unheard of. So that should tell you how well social distancing is being observed because of Corona. So, all right. It's a short little run on the 605. We're about to now transition over to the 105. Onto the 105. And this is the freeway that leads to the airport, which obviously right now isn't doing too much business over at the airport. I mean, I've been hearing talk that they're even going to start shutting down domestic flights, or they're talking about doing it. So there are, I mean, I have been hearing planes landing and taking off at the airport, but just not as many as you would usually see in here. So, all right, so this is the 105. Obviously, we're going out here now. This is another one. Normally very congested, doesn't move like this. I mean, I'm doing 70 miles an hour right now, and it's just unheard of. Normally, you'd be getting through here at around, maybe 15 to 20 miles an hour at this point. And then just up here, when we get to around Paramount Boulevard, that's when it will start backing up, and it slows down to around 5 miles an hour, 0 to 5 miles an hour to get congested. But that's not happening right now. None of that congestion is there right now because people are obviously doing the right thing, and they are observing, the COVID-19 protocols of social distancing if they can help it, if they can avoid it. And so that's a good thing. I figured I would show everybody once again what it's like, and that it's continuing to be observed. It's the people are continuing to stay home, to continue to flatten the curve on this thing, or as they call it, the hammer, to bring the hammer to it. Because and what that refers to, the hammer, folks, means instead of the way this disease takes off, it starts infecting, and it basically the amount doubles every day, or every 2 days, or maybe even every 3 days. And those are the normal, the rate that it goes. The idea of the hammer is by practicing social distancing, you put a hammer on that rate of rise. You're hammering it, and then you're flattening it out. That's the whole idea. That's what the hammer is meant to refer to. If you guys have been hearing about that, that's what the hammer is meant to refer to. So, and it's working. It really, truly seems to be working. And judging by the data that I'm seeing coming out, that shows that California seems to be flattening the curve, along with what was the other state? There was another state. There was one other state, I'm sorry, it's escaping me, that also has managed to start flattening the curve. So it's interesting. But it looks like it can be done if people are responsible and observe, some real basic things, and keep your 6 distance apart. If you are out in public, you gotta go to the store and things like that, or if you gotta go to work, like some of us do, just keep that social distancing, keep that 6 feet, do all those things. But as you can see, these freeways are empty and cleared. I mean, this part here normally is so bad, this particular part, it never moves like this under normal conditions. So I can tell you, plenty of people are doing what they should, staying home if they can, and that's how we're going to beat this thing. That's how we're going to keep this thing from killing more people than it should. We can keep it from overwhelming our medical facilities, our medical community, and if we keep it from doing that, our medical community can take care of us. But that's what I'm talking about. I mean, just how clear these freeways are. They don't move like this. And there's usually a lot more people. So I reason that a lot less than half of people are staying home, or a lot more than half are staying home, and a lot less than half are out on the freeways or out and about. So it's my observation. Thought I'd share it with everybody by bringing my camera along so that everybody can see. So, all right, folks.
Okay, so this is kind of what you will see in a lot of the restaurants and businesses, particularly food service, where all the tables are blocked off, as you can see by crime scene tape, basically. But you can't dine in the restaurants. You can come in and grab your food and get out, but you can't stay there, and the whole idea is they don't want groups of people sitting there passing around Corona to each other inside restaurants, right? So that's why. But this is one of the major measures, obviously, that's been in effect now for over a week, where businesses have been, closing down the dining rooms and not allowing people to hang out and eat. Like I said, it prevents the crowds from forming, and the crowds that can then pass Corona around to each other. So that's one of the reasons why. So this is one of the things, and now we'll move on to the other thing that I can show you. Okay, so this is me at Home Depot. And as you can kind of see, there's a line here. Home Depot doesn't usually have a line out in front, right? So you can see this is all people in a line here. And there is, some distancing being observed, obviously. Everybody's not all right up on each other. So this is what Home Depot is doing to limit the numbers of people in the store, to help prevent, to help keep social distance possible, obviously, inside the store, and to just keep the store from getting overpacked and becoming a, leaping ground for the coronavirus to move around to others. So obviously these are all precautions being taken by many businesses and things. There's somewhere I'm going to go tomorrow where I'm just going to be calling when I get there and for the part that I need, and somebody is going to run the part out to me, because they're just not even having people come in to pick up the parts at the parts stores. At certain part stores, I should say, or at warehouses or wholesale houses. So there's somewhere tomorrow where I'm not even going to be able to go inside. I'm just going to call and somebody's going to run out my piece of equipment for me. So that's interesting, and that's the types of things that are happening here in California. As I say, California is taking it pretty seriously. It seems to be being observed pretty seriously. It seems like everybody's taking it pretty seriously, and if for all those reasons are why our curve is flattening, then I am grateful to all the people of California for really doing such a great job.
Just arrived at work, and I mean, these streets are empty. I mean, there's nothing. That's a park kind of over there with a little library and stuff. I mean, there's just nothing. Hardly any cars. It's like just interesting to observe the social distancing here in LA. It's really being taken seriously here.
So this is me headed home, going the other way. Right now we're on a street called Lincoln, runs right next to the airport. That's over here. This is the airport right over here. Can't really see it because they got a berm that kind of blocks the runway, but that's LAX. So you can see there's not a whole lot of cars. There's, in fact, very little cars, right? Certainly none on my side. There's a few over on the other side of the median there, but it's just like I'm saying. I mean, here we are at LAX. This is usually like, madness here, with the amount of cars and everything. It's usually just absolutely mad. And here we are, we see, I mean, it's just, obviously social distancing is really truly being observed here in LA. And you're seeing the evidence of it in the videos that I've been posting. I mean, I posted one over on my Doctor Who channel. I posted, obviously, one on the Making a Murderer channel a few days back, I think during the weekend, actually. So this is what it's looking like, the social distancing in LA and in California. And it's probably a big part of the reason why California is flattening the curve, because Californians seem to be taking it very seriously, very seriously. To see this little cars out, it's just, I mean, it's hard for me to try to explain. I can look back at some footage I might have prior to Corona, where you guys can see what these freeways look like normally there, and what this road right here in front of LAX, this is LAX right over here, folks. That's LAX. That's where you drive up. That's the terminals right there, where that tall building is. Over to behind that tall building, it's all terminals behind there. So this is, generally usually a very busy area, and you can see, I mean, there's just not a lot of cars. You see me here at this stoplight and there looks like some cars. Usually that light backs up way more than it did right there. So here we are coming up on the Sepulveda Tunnel. Has the traffic goes underneath and in the tunnel because there's a runway on top. So interesting, but like I said, I mean, normally going into this tunnel, there's just a mad, it's just a mob of cars usually, just all kinds of people. And to see it this light, to see it this, you know, to see this little cars and stuff is really, it's eerie. It's truly eerie. I mean, there's just usually always cars. I mean, seeing it this open is just bizarre to really to see. But it's bizarre in a good way. It's bizarre in a very good way, because this means that LA and California are really taking it seriously, and they're really trying to flatten that curve. And I gotta say, I'm proud of my fellow statesmen, my fellow Californians, for actually taking it seriously and, you know, slowing the spread of this thing so that we lose less of our loved ones. You can see here, folks, this is a freeway. You know we're at the airport, and you can see what this looks like. You can see how open it is. It's just, you know, it just shows you that, you know, a lot of people are staying home. A lot of people are staying home and, you know, trying to stay safe, and obviously that's how we're going to beat COVID-19. You can see here, sign there. Because they don't need to use them for traffic warnings much, because there is no traffic, it just says like avoid travel, stay home, beat COVID-19, and that's what the traffic signs say now. Instead of telling you how many minutes it is to whatever various point, they usually give out times of how long it takes, you know, or what the approximate time is. But they're not putting that up now. They're just putting up the messages like you just saw there, to beat COVID-19. So yeah, it's really like I say, eerie to see the freeways and the streets looking the way they do. But on the other hand, it's very uplifting, and I'm very proud of Californians for really taking this seriously and trying to save lives. Seriously, it's what it comes down to. It's by observing the social distancing, it's saving lives. You know, you can't put a price on that. You cannot put any kind of monetary price on the value of saving the amount of lives that are going to be saved because people observed the social distancing and took it seriously, and which you can see is evident right here. I mean, this is usually a parking lot right here on this curve, folks. Parking lot, usually, right here. You don't move very fast through here. It's just very strange, really, the last couple weeks driving to and from work. But strange, like I said, in a good way. So we'll go ahead and show you a little bit more of the freeway here. And you know, I hope other people will see what California is doing. I hope other people will, you know, or other states will really see what we're doing, and I hope everybody will really take the social distancing seriously and continue to do it. Because yeah, even though, you know, California is flattening the curve, that doesn't mean we're done. That means we got to continue to be careful and try to, you know, observe the protocols, you know, washing hands and doing all those things, keeping 6 feet of separation between you and others if you're out, doing all those things, because like I said, it translates into saving lives, and you just can't put a monetary value on that. All right, so this is where we're coming up on the 710. Normally, folks, I would be hitting traffic already. It would already be backed up to here, and you can see we're cruising. There's just no cars, hardly any cars. So that's just, again, there's another one of the signs, obviously. But this is, I mean, normally this is all congested really bad. And this is just showing you, I mean, that just people are staying home. And, you know, people that can stay home are staying home. People that don't need to go out are not, they're just not going out. And that's the key. That's the good thing. So as we're coming up on the 710 here, we're basically going to have a lane that goes from here off onto the 710 up here in a second. But then on the other side of the 710, we're going to have the lane that comes from the 710 to allow cars onto this freeway, the 105. And generally, usually, when it's not Corona time, generally that inflow of cars from the 710 onto the 105 creates a huge bottleneck. And that's part of why this is usually really backed up, because that flow of cars coming onto the 105 from the 710 backs it up. As you can see, it's not very backed up, and we're gonna get to that right now, where that lane comes from the 710. You'll be able to see there's not a lot of cars coming around, and the congestion just isn't there. There's just not a lot of people out. That's the lane right here, basically, coming from the 710, and you can just see there is no cars. It's just nothing, hardly anything. So that's what I wanted to show everybody. Alright, so what I want to show you right here is that we're coming up on the transition from the 105, the 105 freeway ends. So we're coming up on the transition from the 105 to the 605. That transition would already be backed up to where we're at normally, okay? And as you can see, even with jerks like that guy crossing a quadruple white line, we still don't have much traffic. So, interesting, but it's, this thing is usually like backed up. It's like got cars parked on it. You'll see as we go around this little curve right here. But usually the cars are bumper to bumper on this thing, bumper to bumper, and it's just obviously not like that now, because people are staying home, observing the social distancing, staying home. Places like Home Depot are taking precautions, not letting as many people into the store as they normally would, and places like restaurants like the KFC I was in, they're not doing any dine-in, it's takeout only. These are the type of things that are obviously going to help. It's going to help us flatten the curve, We'll give Corona the hammer, right? So, all right. So as you guys can see, normally this is just backed up. This meter is usually on. You can see those lights up there. Those meters are usually on, but it's just not. It's just not right now, because there just isn't traffic right now, because like I say, people are being good humans. I love it.
All right, everybody, how you doing? Okay, so that is basically the example of social distancing there in California that I really wanted to show, especially to show the example of it after being able to show that graph where we're seeing California's curve flattening pretty decidedly there. So, and then obviously we've seen Washington's got kind of back. They're kind of under control. They're flattening out. They're kind of still got a tiny bit of a rise, but they're mainly flattened out. So, I'm going to continue to watch California's curve, of course, but knowing that we shut the schools down 2 Mondays ago, preventing the kids from even coming back to school after that weekend. So that means we haven't had it being passed around there. We've shut down major sporting events. We've, any kind of group gatherings, have been canceled and stopped, and people are not getting together like that. Most people aren't getting together like that. And that's going to help flatten the curve. So it'd be interesting. I will obviously be watching the curve and continue to watch the progress and things like that. And I'll come back and report on it some more, obviously. But obviously, in the meantime, everybody be safe. This is what I do when I go to work every day. You see, I put on fresh gloves and a fresh mask walking into each client's house. I do that for 2 reasons. Number one, to protect me a little bit from them, in case they may have it, but also to protect them from me,
in case maybe I picked it up somewhere. So it's courtesy, but it's also the nature of the beast, because I'm an essential worker, and I'm out there fixing people's internet and their TV to make sure that they can have entertainment during this period in time. So what I'm having to do is pretty important to people. So I take these precautions, you know? And if you're out there having to deal with the public and stuff like me, obviously it's on a limited level. I don't go to an office full of people, and when I leave the office, I'm in my own self-contained vehicle, and I go to a client's house where I'm dealing with 1 to 2 people. That for me is an acceptable risk, because I want people to be able to entertain themselves during this time. To give so that they have something to do, so that they're more inclined to stay home. So that's what I'm doing. That's something that I feel is necessary, and so I take the precautions to protect not only myself, but to also protect others from me, potentially. Right? Because I could pick this up at some point. So it doesn't hurt for me to be cautious. And it doesn't hurt everybody else out there to be cautious, right? Okay, so that's my update about coronavirus here in California. Hopefully we're getting that curve flattened. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe, and we'll see ya.